everyone. Welcome to Staying Home with Stacey. Today we have a really special guest and we're doing something really special. So first and foremost, other than the obvious fact that we're drinking some Cosmos here, I want to introduce our special guest, the Cosmo Queen. This is my mom.
Hello, Cynthia.
Right. I call her Mom. You can call her Cynthia. Today we're going to make my grandma's recipe, peanut butter fudge. We came up here to visit Mom, and Mom lives in an area where the fudge shops, the candy shops, they make some excellent fudge, and people come up specifically to buy the fudge. Actually, the locals call the tourists fudgies because of that. But this recipe is for a really smooth, really creamy peanut butter fudge that my grandma actually learned from home ec class. So about 1936. So my family's been making this peanut butter fudge for about 84 years now. And it is absolute perfection. It's really a great peanut butter fudge. There are a few things that we need to know before we get started, because you need a special pan, a pan that's got a little bit of a thick bottom to it so that you don't burn your. I'm laughing over the thick bottom. Sorry. Everyone likes a thick bottom, but so you don't burn your fudge when you're starting it. Also, this fudge is something that you have to beat with your hand, that you're mixing a lot. Actually, when Grandma was in home ec, she said her teacher told her that you beat it until it feels like your arm's going to fall off, and then you beat it some more. Thankfully, we have a KitchenAid, so we're going to put in the KitchenAid. You don't really want to do it with an electric mixer, but you can certainly use your KitchenAid to do this. We've got everything prepared. It's a real simple recipe, actually, in terms of ingredients. So you're going to need a cup of white sugar, a cup of brown sugar, a cup of milk, a cup plus a little bit of peanut butter. Let me get my Cosmo out of the way so we can look at our ingredients. 2 teaspoons of vanilla, dash of salt, tablespoon of butter. That's all you're going to need to make it. We're going to start by putting the sugars and the milk and the pinch of salt in the pan. We're going to boil it until it reaches what's called a softball stage. And we'll show you all that. So we'll just start putting our ingredients in now. What do you want to start with, Mom? Do you want the milk first, or what do you like first?
I usually dump the sugar in first and then the milk on top of it.
Okay, so we're going to go with the sugars first. We're going to put these in here. And now here's a little trick. If you butter the rim of your pan, the inside rim, it's going to stop this from boiling over. Now, obviously, we've got a nice big pan, and that's not an issue here. But to be perfectly honest, I just learned this one, and you can also use it for pasta. So I'm excited to try that next time I make pasta and put some butter around the rim of my pan. So am I just going to dump this in and mix it?
Yes.
Okay.
And then just a pinch of salt in there with it.
Now, when we say a pinch, do you actually, when you pinch, you stick your fingers in there and pinch?
Just pinch and put a little in.
Okay, there's my pinch. And I'm going to stir this up, and then we're going to fire up the burner. Now, what kind of heat do you like to use, Mom, for this?
I use a medium heat.
Okay.
You don't want it too hot, because if you boil it too fast, cook it too fast, it will, the oil from the peanut butter will kind of seep out of the fudge after it's finished. So that's, about a 4 on my gas stove. Everybody's is a little different.
Okay. And how often do you stir that once you have it mixed?
Once it's mixed, it's best to not stir it any more than you have to along the way.
Okay.
Stir it occasionally to make sure it's not sticking to the bottom, but other than that, you don't want to stir it too much. My mother told me that stirring it makes it sugary, and we don't want sugary fudge when we're done.
Right.
We want a nice creamy texture in the end.
Okay, exactly. So we're going to let this boil, and then it's going to boil to a stage where it kind of forms a soft ball. In water, yes. And when we get to that point, we'll show that, and then we're going to mix it up, and we're going to have some really good fudge here. And again, this is a great old recipe. It's my grandma learned it in home ec, 1936, which to me is really cool. My family's been doing this for a long time. My mom makes it. She's probably one of the best at making this fudge because it does take a little finesse. So the first couple times you try to make it, If it doesn't turn out right, don't worry about it. Just keep trying. You'll get it.
And if you like a chocolate fudge, you can modify the recipe. Instead of using a cup of white sugar and a cup of brown sugar, you use 2 cups of white sugar, 5 tablespoons of cocoa, and follow everything else the same way, and you'll have a nice chocolate peanut butter fudge.
Okay, so we boiled our mixture, our 2 sugars, white and brown, and our milk, and our pinch of salt. And we boiled it for about 10 minutes. We got it up to about 235 for our temperature on our candy thermometer. And now we're going to double check that to make sure it forms a soft ball when placed in cold water. Now here's something that Mom did to make sure that her water was nice and cold. She got her dish ready and put some ice in it. And as you can see, that's kind of forming together to make a ball. And you want it to be soft. You don't want anything that's going to be too dry or too hard. But that lets us know that we are ready to move on in the process. And so to do that, we're going to add the peanut butter.
If we turned our heat off, we're going to add a tablespoon of butter, a cup of peanut butter, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And if in doubt on the softball stage or the temperature, it's always better to undercook than overcook, because you can always add a little extra peanut butter if you have to make your fudge firm up. But if you overcook it, there isn't much you can do with it. It'll get dry and crumbly, and it loses its nice creamy texture.
Okay, would you like me to bring over a tablespoon of butter?
Yes, please.
And I'm just going to put that right in there, right?
Yes. Okay. And you can dump the peanut butter in, and if I can get this open, put this in.
Now I noticed that you have a heaping cup of peanut butter.
Yes.
Okay, we did
Just preference. You can do however you want. As I said, you can always add a little more peanut butter to give it more peanut butter taste, or to firm up fudge that might not set up quite as well.
Okay. I'm trying to get the last little bit off here. Don't worry, my hands are clean. I feel like that's something that you always have to say when you're cooking. My hands are clean, I promise.
And the 2 teaspoons of vanilla is optional. It's you can make it without the vanilla, and it's good also. We'll remove this and stir our fudge up a little, and then we're going to put it into the KitchenAid to beat it.
We're going to save our arms. We don't have to beat until our arms are going to fall off. It looks really good. Now, how long do you think it takes in the KitchenAid to beat it?
Well, not until its arm falls off. It's going to last a lot longer. You'll be able to tell when you beat it until it loses its velocity.
Okay. So that's what we're going for. We want to have that kind of a dull look, not
Like
a
a matte finish when it's done.
yes, not a glossy shine. We're gonna get that in. What can I do to assist with this? We're gonna get that in the KitchenAid bowl, and we're gonna use the paddle, not the beater tool, but the paddle.
Hand me a spatula out of there, please.
Yes. Yes, I
Wide
will.
one if there's one.
Wide enough? This is a family favorite, this recipe, and we have it at holidays, and a lot of my cousins, or of course my brother and I, when we come up to visit, we're always like, oh, peanut butter fudge, and my kids, my niece and nephew, everybody loves the peanut butter fudge. But when we were little kids, my brother and I, we had a little like a school set. So it had pencils, erasers, and stuff. And the erasers were square, and they were the same kind of color of the peanut butter. So my brother, being little, the fudge reminded him of the erasers, and he started calling it eraser fudge. So you know how it is. When a little kid says something funny, everybody says it. So for a long, long time, we all referred to this as eraser fudge. But there are no erasers. It's just straight up peanut butter fudge. My brother was a cute little kid.
Then he grew up.
Then he grew up. Yeah. But my nephew looks a lot like him. He's also a very cute kid. Very cute. And so what speed do you put that on?
As high as it will take without coming off.
Okay. So right now we've got this at about a medium speed on the KitchenAid. It's right at about the 6 number. If yours is numbered 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Because you don't want your stuff flying everywhere, but we do want to be able to mix it and get a good mix in there. Because again, if you were doing this by hand, you'd beat it until your arm feels like it's going to fall off, and then beat it just a little bit more. So once we have it with a matte finish, then we're going to form it into a square on we've got a pre-buttered plate over here. And then we'll just let it sit for a little while, and we will have some terrific creamy fudge.
Another thing to note is you want your fudge to cool, and if you feel the bottom of this, you'll notice that it's really warm. You can also put it in a bowl of ice to let it cool down for a while, and then you don't have to beat it as long.
Yeah, that's hot. It's very warm. But it's losing that shine. Would you like to see it closer while it's... Okay, so we beat that in the KitchenAid. And it took a few minutes, but we got it. It's lost its gloss, so it's a matte finish, like we said. And we did end up putting a little, like a pie baking dish full of ice up underneath the bowl for a little bit to cool it down. And so now Mom's getting it all out of the bowl, and we're going to form it into a nice square so that we can cut it into easy bite-sized pieces. All right, what can I be doing to help? Okay.
You just flatten. You can butter your hands and warm it on the pan, or you can just switch your spatula.
Do you want me to?
I think that's good, actually. You want to get buttery hands, but you don't ground it.
Okay. Well, if you want to butter your hands to kind of pat it down and shape it into a square, that's certainly doable. And of course, your hands will be nice and soft then.
Or the spatula is working quite well.
Spatula works too.
Okay. And on your buttered dish.
Yes.
Okay. We're all set. Now it just cools a little bit, and we can cut it and enjoy.
So there you go. World's best peanut butter fudge. Try it at home. Again, if it doesn't turn out the best the first time, don't worry about it. Just keep trying. As you can see, I learned today. I must have just hung out and ate the fudge like every other time Mom's made it. But yeah, peanut butter fudge. All right, everyone have a good day.
Bye-bye.